Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trek Before. This time, the Savage Curtain. Oh, it's so savage. You watch the episode, it is a little savage. There's not really a curtain, but, it's a metaphor. Speaking of metaphors, not really. Season 2 of Squatch Smashers is here. Released every other Sunday. Join Monster Hunter Ezekiel for his vampire co-host Dad Vlad, a stylish steampunk murder bot named Jenny, and more as they hang out at a t-shirt kiosk in the Dunglewood Mall and face creatures and fellow businesses alike. Plus, free t-shirt for every 1 millionth listener. That could be you. Check out the Squatch Smashers and all the programs at IABDpresents.com, part of the IABD Presents network. And hey, while you're at it, support us at patreon.com/IABD. That's how we're able to add all these great shows and great tent. And you get all the special previews, behind the scenes kind of stuff that other people aren't getting. Go check it out. Support us at some level. And who knows, you might have us coming to your house to watch Star Trek with you. Also on the network, it's whatever, old English. Marianne's Macabre Review. I know you might remember it as Marianne's Macabre Movie Review. It's expanded. Marianne's Macabre Review. She's checking out all the spooky, joining Marianne and her friends on a package release every other Tuesday on all things horror. Film, television, books, web series, even board games. Scariest board game ever played? Sorry. That's right. Anyway, that's all. Check all that out on the IABD Presents Network. And right now, check us out talking about the Savage Curtain on It's All Been Trek Before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trek Before. We're winding down season 3, and there's only a couple of us.
This is Steven.
This is Jimmy-Jerome.
It's like we're on impulse power.
Yeah.
And
this is Lincoln.
Surak.
So there's the 4 of us. Impulse power, yes.
We're just barely. Good thing we're not outside the galaxy.
Coasting.
We can never get back.
No.
Fortunately, yeah, we're limping back to a starbase to get retrofitted. It's
You're not kidding. It reminds me of what was it in the beginning of Search for Spock, like the Enterprise limps home after fighting Khan.
Yeah, we're there.
And yeah, except that was really good.
Yeah, well, yeah. Speaking of the opposite of that, maybe not the exact opposite.
No.
Definitely wouldn't call it good.
I mean, is it good or is it evil? Because there's only these two things.
That's right. There's no in between.
No,
and clearly, we'll get more into that, but yeah.
We should get out of the way right now that Steven Spielberg and Daniel Day-Lewis really ripped off Star Trek
completely,
here.
yeah.
I mean, the idea to do Lincoln, I'm sure came from this.
Completely. They were probably having a party and this came on like, oh. And they're like, oh, Savage Curtain, yeah.
Yeah, let's do a Lincoln movie.
Well, they kicked around doing a Colonel Green movie.
Right.
Before finally settling on a Lincoln.
Right. And they were probably going to follow it up with a Surak movie.
Oh, of course.
But then Daniel Day-Lewis retired.
He's
and
the father of both.
Screwed everything up, yeah.
So, first impressions. Didn't sound good.
Not the worst episode of the season.
No, and again,
Towards the bottom.
Yeah, this is one again I thought going in, and we talked about this a little at the end of last week's episode. When we started previewing this, like that's when I started to remember more of it. But yeah, I just always remembered from the second Lincoln shows up, like what? No, and
weak, flawed premise, poorly executed. So, like, often there'll be a great premise that they poorly execute.
Yes.
Or a bad premise that's
they work out. Yeah,
they work through it.
Yeah.
This is everything about it was flawed. Like from the beginning, there was no way to build a good episode out of this premise.
No, and it's that thing I know we've talked about before. Where it's like, okay, once something gets beyond the science, it's also another advanced power wanting to figure out, well, how does this work? And none of that makes sense. And Kirk even says to him, it's like, well, you set the rules. How? It makes no sense what you're saying. And yeah.
So yeah, this is like many of the beings we meet are advanced Earthlings. This is clearly an advanced Horta.
Actually, Janice Prohaska played the Horta.
Oh,
also played Yarnek. And I will say, from a aesthetic viewpoint, even though it's a '60s weird costume, I actually like the rock creature.
That was my favorite thing of the whole episode.
I love the smoke. I love the lava. I like when you brought it up last episode. I was like, okay, I couldn't remember much of it, and I always thought of him blowing smoke rings, but I think I'm confusing him with Baby Godzilla.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I love physically, aesthetically,
I got
he's cool.
super excited when I saw
I love
him.
when he starts moving around. I just wish there was more of him moving around. But.
And there's like 8 eyes randomly arranged. I don't know if it's 8. It's a number of them.
Like I feel like that advanced, like that's not what those, whoever the Excalibians, that's not what they look like. He just decided, this is what I'm going to do. This is going to be weird. Might freak him out. And I'm going to have 8 lit up eyes. And
see, I figured that was what they look like.
maybe it is, but I thought
But they were carbon-based, not silicon-based.
And
so they weren't just like the Horda.
and maybe I missed this. Are they actually from that world, or this is just where they hold their events?
It sounded like they were from this world.
Okay.
Because they were finding life signs at the beginning, they mentioned, found in advanced civilization
So where does he
of
go?
carbon-based life forms.
Where does he go at the end then?
Just back to whatever. Like, they quickly terraformed a small section for the humans to compete in. And my guess was he just went back to being a rock. Like,
okay, so I'm thinking in an Earth-based mindset is what I'm doing. So that's how those guys live.
Yeah, that's what I was
makes
thinking.
sense. Okay.
I mean, I feel like it would have been a challenge for him to come into the Earth atmosphere, but maybe he's just advanced enough to know how to do it. Yeah, I assumed it was what they look like, or maybe they're rocks and they can rearrange themselves in different ways, and he just went
because they can.
bipedal.
Doesn't Spock or somebody say they can? Well, obviously they can shape matter because they built Lincoln and Surak and the 4 evil guys or 2 of these evil guys. That's another part.
We'll get to that.
We will. Okay.
We'll
get there.
Put a pin in,
we'll get there.
in those right
There's
now.
many things.
But let's keep talking about this really awesome thing they did, which was a cool original alien that I wish there was an action figure for. I mean, really, you could sell a 10 action figure box set from this episode, and I would buy it.
I love Yardak. And his voice is cool too. I like the way it's modulated. It's actually Bart LaRue doing it, who did a bunch of other voices. Mm-hmm. He was, speaking of advanced creatures, he was Trelane's dad. He's been Patterson of Force. And he does a couple otherworldly monster voices for the original Chuck. I think he's in 5 or 6 episodes. So, but I like the way, I don't know, obviously they modulate a little bit. I like that. So I liked his voice. I like the look of him.
Yeah.
I don't like, well, and we'll get into all the other things he did, but the looks of him I love. And I'm like, okay, I'm interested in that guy. Like, that's a guy that would be interesting. And, like, obviously in the later series we see other creatures, and like the Orville now, we've got a completely gelatinous creature voiced by Norm Macdonald or whatever. And that's the kind of creature I'd love to see on the Enterprise.
Yes. Now we could do it so much better.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That's the kind of like, oh, okay, that's a different kind of mindset of a creature. And so I will give them many points for, that's a cool creature. I like. That's getting, I mean, they still have kind of a humanoid form. He's got hands and he's got arms and a head. But other than that, he's a weird rock creature. That's awesome.
I mean, up until that point of the episode, I was like, oh, this is an episode they ran on a budget. Mm-hmm. Like, we're going to reuse the dress uniforms one more time this season because we haven't used them. Lincoln, we probably found the costume in the back. We'd have to make it. And then I saw him, and I'm like, oh, that's where the budget went. Yeah. And then some of the other characters are like, okay, so they spent some budget. Yeah. It wasn't a low budget. They just waited until we saw the rock.
Yeah.
Creature.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't like more of him. Or more Excalibians. And maybe there will be someday.
Honestly, I mean, when you think of the original series, there's a handful of alien looks that stand out. The Megado, the Gorn. Mm-hmm. People think of that. But and maybe it's because they weren't so well remembered, but this rock creature and then the little tiny things at the end of Cat's Paw might be my 2 favorite.
They're 2 of my favorites too. And they're not great episodes, obviously.
No, but maybe that's why they're not as well remembered.
If the whole episodes were that imaginative, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think we're kind of playing with fashion a little bit. So
we are. I was going to say fashion.
I've got quite a few fashion notes.
So the dress uniforms, I thought their medals looked differently arranged.
I did not notice.
Because I almost thought Kirk's was the Star of David almost. But
I didn't notice the difference
but I thought they looked a little different.
I did think it was interesting they had the one security guard in dress uniform and the other 2 not.
Yeah, he had the white Velcro phaser belt.
Yeah. I don't know. We hadn't used the dress uniforms in a while.
And we won't see them again.
Yeah, I mean, I figured they just have to use them so many times per season. What about Surak's frock? Was that like left over from Way to Eden or something?
That's a good question. Yeah, I didn't see anything.
It was kind of hippie-ish.
But yeah, it was. And Colonel Green's was for something else, and I thought I read it.
Colonel Green's looked like a modified Khan outfit.
Oh, I know what I read. Mm-hmm. Reportedly, Colonel Green's outfit ended up being used on Mork and Mindy. It was Mork's outfit, reportedly.
Nice.
Yeah. I read that. Yeah. So that's kind of cool.
It did look like a modified Khan outfit to me, which is interesting because Khan existed a couple decades or few decades before Colonel Green. Yeah. So you'd think the uniforms wouldn't stay the same that long, but that's what made me think. Or maybe Colonel Green was a big admirer of Khan.
That could be. Yeah, that makes sense.
Clearly, Kalis, they just used an old Klingon outfit. But then, what's her face? Zora was a different look.
Yeah, and I thought that's another place where I thought, and we talked about this the whole last episode about this episode. Some imagination. You got Colonel Green, Kalis, and Zora, and those. I think all three of those guys end up showing up later, or maybe Zora doesn't. In later series. Sorry, later.
I mean Surak.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe Zora doesn't show up.
Surak. I'm trying to remember if he shows up or he's just talked about. I know he's talked about a lot in Vulcan. Looking real quick. They did an episode of Enterprise.
Zora wasn't Zora. It was those three.
He would have predated a long time ago. Yeah, Kalis looks way different than every other time we see him.
Yeah.
Like when we see Kalis, he's more next gen.
Yep.
Whereas this is, an outfit and everything.
Yeah. And
he's an ancient Klingon, so there's no way he should be in the modern military.
There was the explanation for that is that's the way Kirk and Spock imagined.
Okay. So I had several notes on Kalis. Let's finish fashion real quick. Lincoln, way too much makeup.
Yeah, just
on the hands.
And again, it might have been one of those
and then the drawn
60s things, but yeah, his lips got browner as the episode went along.
Like I felt like they were preparing him for a stage play, not for Star Trek.
Uhura, and this may have happened in the previous episode, but her uniform seemed more cinched up, so like you could really see her stomach and her skirt. She had an actual skirt instead of, as I think we mentioned, the first two seasons that skirt rose, and then this season. It's like a regular skirt. Yeah. We don't want to see her underwear. Of course, it's Nichelle Nichols. She looked great. On a sad note, also our last Nichelle Nichols episode.
Oh, she's not in the final
We shall not see her until the motion picture.
That's a shame.
Yeah, that is a bummer. And she looks fantastic.
I will see her in the animated series.
Yeah, but we will see her.
But yeah. That's sad.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Series wrap on Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah. But
now I don't even want to watch the last two episodes.
Well, there you go.
Okay, we're
no more
here.
here.
We're gonna finish it.
While I'm on last, jumping into fashions, no more Vulcans or Klingons other than Spock, and no more crew person deaths. Spoiler alert! Sorry, everybody.
There wasn't any crew in this episode either.
No,
so that's already last.
I guess I guess you're right. Yeah.
I feel like at this point we're getting a last of a lot of things. We're winding it down.
Yes, we are.
So. Makes sense. Let's talk about Kalis and some of the good versus evil stuff. So, I was trying to reconcile that the whole episode because we eventually find out quite a lot about Kalis, especially after they bring his clone back in the next gen and DS9.
Sure.
But he was anything but evil. He was very honorable. He was a hero to the people. The Klingons themselves aren't evil.
Right.
What I know of Kalis, I could not see him, first of all, reporting to Colonel Green in the first place.
Right.
Rather than taking charge. But second of all, going with the sneaky underhanded tactics and stuff would not have been...
Not honorable.
No. So I think you're right. I feel like...
I don't think Genghis Khan would have gone for that either.
No, probably not.
He's just like...
Well, he shouldn't have been falling in line behind Colonel Green.
Right.
So, yeah, it has to be... I don't know why Kirk and Spock would have imagined that Genghis Khan was a follower, but Kalis, it has to be completely from their minds. It can't really be who he was at all.
Well,
and they must have a really mistaken impression of him.
And here's another one of those inconsistencies. It's because I kept wondering, it seems like a weird deal. So they're fighting for the Enterprise, although why are Lincoln and Surak involved? And they kind of explained that, okay, those are the guys they thought of.
Sure.
But, so... He's like, well, what did you offer them? He's like, power, what they always wanted.
Yes!
But, okay, so which one of those on the other side was a real person? It would have been a better episode if you had a current Klingon or a Romulan or something like that, or modern people, or maybe, actually not even, just two people from another two evil people, I guess. And then the people they thought of that they admired who were evil.
But see, the problem with that is, if it was an actual Klingon, you look at that person's mind, they're probably not evil. The Klingons are a noble, honorable race.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's like, Genghis Khan probably doesn't think he was evil.
Well, okay, but Genghis Khan arguably did really evil things.
He did.
But most Klingons, I mean, there's a war, but I don't think we could argue that most Klingons do really evil things. The original series, we see very little.
Right.
But the more we learn about the species, they live by a very honorable code. They're not bad people. They just disagree with certain mindsets.
And so that's why, and again, it's clear the entire setup by the Excalibians is completely arbitrary, because, like, they're good, they're all evil, whatever. And so it's just, I mean, it's just...
And the only way
it's super simplistic.
And the only way to decide what's better is to put them in physical combat. Which is not how good versus evil works.
Well, this might surprise you, but this is, you might have seen it. This is a Gene Roddenberry script.
Was it?
It was further finessed by Mr. Freddie Freiberger.
So
what happens when you put those two together?
Dumb and Dumber made an episode.
So Roddenberry's idea was more of it was another one of his jabs at how terrible TV is. So the idea was that the Excalibians are watching this, and it ends up in this episode, you just see the Enterprise watching this matchup. And
I will say they had great camera angles for the Enterprise.
They did.
Somebody was directing and editing.
Who was in the booth? I wanted to see the Excalibian in the booth, like, camera two?
Well, I think there'd be a whole group of them.
Well, yeah.
I want to see the Sports Night-like spin-off of the Excalibians.
It's, clearly the Hunger Games ripped off Star Trek. Because in the Hunger Games movies, you saw the angle, they had the cameras, and were manipulating everything. And that's another thing. Even the entire premise is so false, because they brought them here and to fight and figure out good and evil, and it's like, we can do all this stuff with matter, and have Lincoln be in front of you out in space, and you can beam him aboard and all this stuff, and when you beam down, we can take your phasers and your tricoders, but we're also going to set up this thing where you have 4 hours before we destroy your ship. Why not make it 2 hours and destroy the ship? Why not make it 10 minutes? Why? I mean, if you really want to spice it depends. I guess the Excalibians have nothing else to do. In which case, why not make it 4 days?
Well, that's like their football game. It's just a set 4 hours. That's what it is. Instead of 4 quarters. It's just the way they do it.
They used to be like 5 hours, and the fans don't want to watch it that long.
Too long.
Find a way to shorten it. Major League Baseball should take tips from the Excalibians, but that's a different podcast altogether.
Yeah, I mean, even Lincoln appearing in space. Like, first of all, it wasn't him because they had to go to the plant to beam.
Right.
So it was just a projection of him, I guess. But then somehow the projection flew towards the Enterprise instead of just appearing right in front of them.
They could hear him. He could hear them.
And why did they choose that chair?
Right.
None of it made.
Was that the chair from the Ford Theater? What? I don't know.
No,
I don't understand.
None of it made sense.
No.
Yeah.
While we're talking about all these guys and Gene Roddenberry, the original script also had Socrates was one of the good guys, and Hitler and Attila the Hun were two of the bad guys.
And then they just replaced them with aliens to make it more variety.
Well, I guess the producers was out around this time, right? So Hitler would have flown, right? Hitler, right?
When did the producers come out? It was late 60s.
I thought it was 68, right?
Is it? I mean, depending on when it came out, 1967. So
okay,
they would have had time to see it and whatever.
We were laughing at Hitler by then.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they took him out. They're like, nobody's going to take him seriously as a villain.
Yeah. Well, let's come back around. Thank you, Warren. Anyway.
Another very weird inconsistency was presidential honor. They're going to beam him aboard. I'm like, presidential honor for what? Because there's 200 and some countries on Earth. They surely don't give that kind of honor to any country on Earth, plus all the planets.
Right, and we've talked about this before. It's like, would everybody know Lincoln in the future? Maybe they would.
Well, I think they probably would, but my question is, there's only one President Lincoln that they know by that point. Like, there's not a President Lincoln from anywhere else.
Right.
But it was Kirk. I understand why Kirk thought Abraham. But then they pointed guns at him for some reason.
Well, they had to take precautions. My other problem with, one of my problems.
Keep your hand on him. Don't keep him out and pointed at him.
Well, and if...
And then Kirk, Kirk goes, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. I'm like, are you mixing your metaphors here? Because there's nothing to do with Rome in this episode. And based on how you were doing, I don't know, it just felt really odd.
Yeah, what was this one in Rome? What did that apply to? Giving the honor guard?
Aboard? Yeah. Okay. They're like, let's just play it along.
That doesn't actually apply. That's like the Anchorman line. He's like, well, when in Rome. She's like, well, that doesn't really apply here.
Right. So. It felt really weird. And then Lincoln knew far too much and too little at the same time. So did Colonel Green. So, Lincoln did not know what taped music was, but he knew who Kirk and Spock were and everything that went on with them. Same thing with Colonel Green, where he knew, what had happened over the centuries, and so did Surak. Surak's like,
Right.
I know everything's been
Right.
peaceful since then, but then they didn't know other basic things.
Right, but if it's all coming from Kirk and Spock's minds,
It was very
It makes
random
sense.
what they knew and what they didn't know.
yeah,
I did want to ask you a serious question that I think is an actual good thing to think about in this episode, is if you were in Kirk's position, who would have appeared instead of Lincoln?
probably FDR, which would have been a problem with the fighting, but maybe not.
Is he somebody that you modeled your life after, or just a president you respect?
Yeah, I think if I'm...
Because I don't think we should be
picturing
confined to presidents. Like, Spock's just Surak.
Okay. If
I think
it's
it's
somebody
that you've admired and would inspire you in how you live your life.
to do... That's a good question.
Right?
I mean, I think I tend to think of presidential figures because they do great stuff, so
I mean, Trump, who are you going to pick?
I was going to say Clinton, Obama.
I don't
That's a
know that
really
I'd put
good
Clinton
question.
and Obama in the same sentence either.
Well, I wouldn't, but again, I'm showing my leftist stripes already, but I worked on the Clinton campaign, so...
Nice.
Well, I volunteered in Springfield. I ran the Springfield, Ohio campaign. We won the county both times.
Nice.
That's a really good question. I think that's why I'm thinking of FDR.
Sure. I mean, Teddy Roosevelt was the president I loved as a kid.
Sure.
But I can't say that as an adult I'm still, like, looking to him.
What if it was Shatner that I picked?
I mean, so that was my other question, is can we pick somebody that's still alive? Or does it have to be somebody that's dead?
That's a good question.
Because Shatner's still...
Then I would go with
Sorkin was my first thought, and I'm like,
Yeah.
he's still alive. Aaron Sorkin. For those that don't know, Sports Night and West Wing creator. It's probably why I mentioned Sports Night earlier. It was on the brain.
Now I'm thinking, and I'm just thinking different venues. So now I'm thinking like, I'd want it to be like Isaiah Thomas. I want it to be a sports person.
Yeah, I thought you might choose sports.
It'd be him or Nick Foles, Eagles.
I mean, obviously, I would choose Stephen Woosley.
Of course. And the Excaliburs would just kill you immediately. Well, that's if you're on the evil side. You pick me.
Sure.
If you're on the good side.
Sure. I mean, Jesse Thornton's somebody I admire a lot. He's building a podcast network.
That's a good question.
It'll make you think.
Well, and I guess...
And I don't know, in our current age of so much split attention,
right,
that we really focus on one person the way they might have in the 60s.
The monoculture kind of thing, yeah.
In the 60s. Well, and obviously the 23rd century, they would have been more spread out. But maybe like Kirk just finished the Lincoln biography, and that's...
Well, I guess it gets...
He just read Doris Kearns Goodwin's book, Team of Rivals. That's why he's thinking about it.
It gets back to the...
Great book, by the way.
Did those four guys, were they out of Kirk and Spock's mind or not? So who would be your four evil people or whatever? But,
Trump.
Did you say Doris Kearns Goodwin book?
Doris Kearns Goodwin's Lincoln biography.
Oh, yeah. Because I read her
great book.
I read her LBJ.
I haven't read that one.
Which is also good.
Oh, she's fantastic. I love her. Yeah.
Now this all of a sudden it's the President's podcast.
Yes. But yeah, evil Hitler, Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good start.
Yeah.
But Stalin.
Sure.
And somebody from another planet.
Yeah, I don't know. King George. No.
Ming the Merciless.
Ming the Merciless. I like it.
That's a really good question.
Right?
That's a good party question.
Right.
Yeah.
We could do a whole special episode where we just ask people.
Yeah, that's like a total separate podcast.
Right.
That's a good one.
Actually, our whole spin-off podcast. A new person every week.
Yeah.
We'll just talk about it for 45 minutes.
What if you could... Yeah.
No.
That's good.
Going
back to Kirk and Love and Lincoln, my problem is when Surak shows up, Kirk shows him absolutely zero deference.
Yeah.
This is the father of Vulcan. Pay him some respect. And one, he pays him no respect. Two, he's like, Spock's like, Surak, who? Learn your Vulcan. Learn your Vulcan.
Even if you only know a tiny bit of Vulcan, should know.
Yeah, I've been talking about this since season 1. It's like, get to know your crewmate. Get to know if he's your best friend, get to know a little bit about his planet. So that part, I didn't care. I didn't care that he disrespected Surak. And then it gets into when Surak goes and it's like, I want to settle this with peace, and he dies. I wasn't sure what the message was there. I wasn't sure that was like, and I know this was a big thing in the 60s, and obviously, men of peace died.
Pacifists, yeah.
King, Kennedy, all those guys died. And I don't know if that was part of Roddenberry's thing. And it makes sense, but I feel like Kirk was almost disparaging him.
Well, so I was looking at some of Surak's teachings while we were watching the episode because when he first started like getting in the fist fight, I'm like, wasn't he a pacifist? So I was reading like some of the stuff that they put online of what his teachings were, and he doesn't say no violence. That's not one of his key tenets.
Okay.
He, at least as it's been written, because obviously he's a fictional character, so his tenets are fictional.
Of course.
But he basically had said, violence only when necessary. Kill only when you have to kill. Don't murder.
Is that what... I feel like that's all Vulcans. I mean, once they...
Because there's a certain logic that sometimes you'll have to kill because it's the logical choice.
Yeah.
And that's what confused me about his decision to go there. Because he talks about, well, we had violent people, we sent emissaries, they killed the emissaries, we sent more, and eventually it worked. I'm like, yeah, but there's only 4 of you. And it's 4 versus 4, so it's not logical to sacrifice somebody.
There wasn't any logic there.
Yeah,
and maybe again that's what Spock thinks he would have done. But no, that doesn't make sense because Spock's logical,
right? To the nth degree. It just, it didn't.
Also, Surak, I'm guessing, was the father of the Vulcan nerve pinch as well.
I assume.
So I'm jumping ahead to our latest Star Trek Discovery. What was and I've only seen the first 2 episodes. Not the Vulcan Gambit. What do they call it?
The Vulcan Hello?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Spoiler, because we're going to spoil the first episode if we get into it. But it wasn't the idea that...
Strike first.
Yeah, so...
That was it's what they learned from meeting the Klingons, so long after Surak's time.
That's what... Okay.
It was only with the Klingons they struck first.
Okay.
Which, clearly, Spock, seeing Kahless, should have struck first. Vulcan Hello.
You're right.
But then, he did have the half-sister who did that, and it went wrong. So that adopted sister. So now he might have learned from Michael Burnham's mistakes not to do that.
And do we learn in the future that Klingons are amazing, not ventriloquists. They can throw their voices, but amazing impersonators. They're the Rich Little of the universe.
I was wondering about that because Spock's like, a Vulcan wouldn't cry out. But then they're still surprised when he's dead and it was somebody else. And I'm like, no, that I assume.
Yeah.
Somebody was impersonating him. Most Klingons aren't. It's just Kahless' skill.
Okay.
Like specific. Don't hominidize the species, Steven. They're individuals with different skills.
That's fair. I was just curious if that had happened anywhere along. Although the Surak saying, Spock, help me, that's another one of those... As a kid, and even now as an adult, whenever I'm trapped or whatever, in whatever way you get trapped, I tend to fall back to, Spock, help me. Spock, help me. And it's from this episode, and I'd forgotten that too. I'm jumping ahead now, but the fight at the end, which is very anticlimactic.
Yeah.
I would have preferred a bloodbath. I would have preferred it's a bloodbath, and then it's Kirk realizing, even sometimes when you're fighting for good, you end up you have to kill and war and nobody wins or whatever you want to call it. But
I mean, why'd they have Lincoln get stabbed in the back and do that weird awkward walk forward? Wouldn't it make more sense to shoot him in the head?
That's
it was so effective.
I thought about that too, and I thought that maybe the idea was when they were started doing his voice, he was like, "You're not me. I'm gonna run away," and then they threw the spear and got him, and then couldn't he just turn to the side and been like, "Kirk, stay away." Or, Kirk, get it out of my back.
Yeah, it did not make sense.
No.
Like so much else. Around that time, there were 2 really terrible shots in the episode. There was one where it was Surak going to talk to them, and it was very grainy and weird. But then there was a slow motion reaction shot.
Yeah, it was
that
weird.
had no basis in anything.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either.
And it was... I mean, other than that, the direction was pretty good. Like I said, the Enterprise got the best camera angles.
Yeah. Going back to the guys, Scott and McCoy actually makes sense at the beginning of the episode. When they're like, I don't know if you guys should go down there. No, we're going down. Is this almost insubordination? It's like, no, I think these guys are actually... we have so many episodes where McCoy's like, we got to do this, and why aren't you doing anything? It's like, why are you in charge here? In this episode, he's actually making sense.
So I've got a bad moment for each of them, and then one really great moment. So, bad moment, in the first scene, I think Bones just entered the scene too early, because he stands back and all of a sudden jumps up for his line. That was just weird.
And isn't it, what's this poppycock about?
And then he's like, oh, there's no intelligent life, just forget it. But our sensor said there's intelligent life, just forget it, it's fine.
Yeah.
So Bones, Bones has never met an alien. The bad Scotty part was when Scotty's like, oh, we lost power? Nothing we can do. Absolutely nothing. I'm not even going to try. I'm not going to try to do an engineering miracle. They're just lost until. But unless you had some bad from them you want to talk about.
No, that was
my second favorite moment in the whole episode after seeing the rock alien that was awesome was when Scotty strode on the bridge with McCoy in the middle of like emergency stuff. Sulu jumps out of the seat. Scotty like takes command, and it's very Kirk-esque moment where we really see Scotty like being a leader and taking charge. And I was like, good for you, Scotty. It's taken 3 seasons to get you there, but I like it. It was a great moment. Probably my favorite Scotty moment of the whole season.
Yeah.
Because there haven't been a lot of good ones.
I used to know what the references or how this was said. I think Scotty references an Arcturian dog bird.
No,
I can't remember how it's. He says Looney is I'm saying Arcturian. I used to know it. It's probably something else. But anyway, I know that. And this is just me not paying enough attention. But when Scotty and McCoy reference, they might end up in a pool of lava if they beam down. But I guess that makes sense. The whole planet's what it is. So at the time, I thought it was just them using their imagination of like the worst possible place they could land. Like pool of lava. That sounds like a terrible place.
It just made me think of the beginning of Into Darkness, where Spock was in the volcano on the lava, and I'm like, nah, he'll just beam on a rock formation, you beam him back up.
Well, and that's another thing when Scotty says, "Well, if I do beam him into a pool of lava, well, no way to get him back." Okay, but when their phasers and their tricorders get left, I think you still could have grabbed him then.
You still could have, yeah.
The other thing I liked is when they land and Spock's like, "Captain, our phasers and tricorders," and Shatner does I can't find my keys. Where are my keys? It's like, what? No.
I mean, there was a good 5 seconds or so before Spock said that, notice. And Kirk wasn't noticing. And I'm like, I bet Spock's noticing and just waiting to say it, and then of course he did. But I'm like, Kirk did not notice, which is ridiculous.
I have a feeling, and so I'm not going to blame Shatner. I have a feeling maybe the director gave that. I know what, but I'm usually directing a comedy because I always direct anyone if they're missing something to do with stupid. I can't find my keys, especially if it's something like they lost something much bigger that
like a dog
that doesn't have keys.
A dog, or something. Yeah. Where's my keys?
Or like if they lost their phaser.
Yeah, sure.
And tricorder or whatever. But that humored me. Getting back to the advanced people, again, why would an advanced race not know the difference between good and evil? I mean, I get or understand why one was better or not better, and it's just a stupid setup. Well, I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking in the brain, you can figure out a better way to test it than this way that makes no sense.
Yeah, why not have it just in their mind? Well, I guess it kind of was.
Or some type of intellectual challenge, or something that actually tested moral philosophy. Like, okay, here's the group of bad guys, here's the group of good guys. Now you guys can either save these children or profit yourself or something like that.
Or televised debate. Surak, your rebuttal?
Sure. I mean, there were so many different, more clever ways.
Genghis Khan, your rebuttal, and he just throws a spear. Then okay, all right, now we got something.
Yeah. And instead the rock guy's like, hey, you were both fighting. I don't see any different results. Okay, well then don't make us fight.
Yeah. And I thought that was supposed to be the underlying meaning. And I actually like that line that Kirk says where he's like, you set up this arbitrary rules.
Sure.
And I'm like, is he talking to the writers or is he talking to the Rock, Yarnek or whatever?
I don't know.
I
can just imagine Nimoy gets the script and he's like, this is shit. And they're like, sorry, we don't have time. There's only 2 episodes left. Just buckle down.
There were 2 things from the very end. Like, I kind of liked the talk those guys had about came from our thoughts and why it was a Lincoln and that kind of stuff. But the line that made me laugh cringe was when Kirk's like, it was hard to see him die again. I was like, wait, were you at the Ford Theater?
I thought that too.
Kirk, were you there?
I thought that too. But I guess the line makes sense that he knows that he died.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I do think it's ridiculous that he's like, I now understand what Earth went through to find peace. I'm like, really? Because you were in a fist fight with a couple of guys with some spears? Because this isn't the first time you've been in a fight with some spears on the planet.
No.
Like fighting the Gorn didn't help you understand?
Fighting with the Earps.
I mean,
didn't go. Yeah.
And honestly, none of that would help him understand what the whole planet went through.
No, there was some reaching there. Like there are, like I said, there. Oh, what was on? Oh, I crossed that one away. There was the one thing they said about talking peace while backing up with war, which I know it probably still is a bumper sticker where it was like, you can't talk peace while you prepare for war. Which is...
I prefer Peter Pan. To die would be a great adventure.
Yeah, well, there you go. But, so I think... I can't remember who says that.
Wow.
It might have been Spock or Surak. It was one
a great philosopher that said, war, what is it good for?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Leo Tolstoy.
Yes, yeah. I think it was Tolstoy.
It's original...
Came right from War and Peace.
It was the original title, yes. And this is the Seinfeld reference part of It's All Been Tech Before. I got a bunch of notes on the some of the actors.
Okay.
The guy who played...
Oh, we haven't talked about any of the guest stars.
Yeah, the guy who played Genghis Khan, and every time they showed him, I just thought of I Feel a Little Bit Genghis Khan, the Genghis Khan song, and Travis singing.
Jung.
Yeah. The only movie of note that I saw that he was in was Corvette Summer.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Really?
That's his most known
I did not know that. All right. I didn't investigate him closely.
Beverly Hills Ninja.
Okay.
He was in a movie called Nathan Jung vs. Bruce Lee.
Now I'm interested. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
55 credits. That was a documentary short he was narrating.
Okay.
About him and Bruce Lee. But, Big Adventure in Little China just says Wing Kong Hatchet Man.
Okay.
So not super well known,
all right,
I guess.
Look for that.
He was in 2 episodes of Lewis and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman.
All right. He's got some...
Surf Ninjas. He was in Surf Ninjas. Classic film. No.
He was in Corvette Summer, and this is your one Star Wars reference for this. He was in Corvette Summer with Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill, which was his...
Who was in something else with Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, exactly. It was Hamill's first movie after Star Wars. Although I think he made it before Star Wars came out.
This is actually Nathan Jung's second credit. His first one was 6 years earlier on an episode of General Hospital.
Wow.
So this was him just getting his start.
Wow. Huh.
Who do you want to talk about next?
The guy who played Surak.
Barry Atwater.
Yeah, he died, I'm going to say young, 60.
That is
about
young.
10 years after this. One of his other big sci-fi thing that I saw was that
this is what he's best known for.
Oh, really? Yeah. He was on the Monsters on Maple Street episode of The Twilight Zone, the classic.
Yeah, they don't have. They've got Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Police Story, One Step Behind.
He probably did more episodes, I'm guessing.
A lot of guest spots. It looks like. I mean, like Police Story, he played 4 different characters in 1 year.
These guys both did Kung Fu too. He and Nathan Jung
did a bunch of Mission Impossible episodes. Yeah. Again, different characters every time.
I feel like a lot of these guys just showed up at the Paramount Studios and were just like, "All right, which building am I supposed to go to today?"
Right. Yeah.
You're getting killed in Studio 8H.
Looks like he just had a lot of guest spots.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln, Lee Berger. I will say, I thought he was a pretty good actor.
He was. I thought so too. I thought he did all right.
I didn't think any of the other... Colonel Green and him were decent. Everybody else sucked.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot to do.
He was good. I thought if you were going to do a Lincoln, I approved of this version of him.
I thought Surak was okay. I don't think he had a lot to do, though.
I didn't like Surak.
Yeah. I thought he was all right. Barry Atwater.
I didn't like Barry Atwater.
Speaking of Vulcans, Mark Leonard was originally going to be Lincoln in this.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
no.
they were going to bring back a third time.
No.
But he was working on, I think it was, not Seven Brides. Here Come the Brides.
Lee Berger was in 56 episodes of Dynasty.
Yeah, that was his big, yeah.
I'm glad they didn't use Mark Leonard again. That would have been weird.
It turned out the scheduling didn't end up working.
Now, if he played Surak, that would have been even worse. Because it's like,
right.
Oh, Spock, it's your great-great-great-grandfather.
Yeah.
Surak. Colonel Green was Philip Pine. The other one I thought did a pretty good job in this episode. He is best known for...
He did a lot of other guest things.
This is one of the things he's best known for again.
Did a lot of B movies, I feel.
Got 175 credits. Yeah. It looks similar to Barry Atwater. He just had a lot of different guest spots.
There you go.
It wasn't... He didn't have any long-term...
A working actor, as they say.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. And like I said, he was pretty good. I wish he'd gotten a better role in his career. On Zorro was Carol Daniels.
Which I think she was the sometime stunt woman? No, maybe not.
She did stunts for the movie Anaconda and the Blues Brothers.
Huh.
And Space Jam.
I thought she was one of the...
118 stunt credits.
Oh, she's only in 3 episodes of Trek, okay.
She did stunts for Trek, too. For Star Trek. Yeah. See, these are all stunt credits. Actress, she only has 15 credits. I'm looking to see For Star Trek, this was her only actress credited role, but obviously she did stunts for the show. So she'd been active a lot before this.
Oh, wow.
Make Room for Daddy. I didn't know they had big demand for stunts. She did a whole bunch. Only one episode of Mission Impossible, though. Yeah, I don't see where she's credited with Star Trek stunts under her stunt profile, but at the top it has Star Trek as one of the things that's no.
The only other...
She's still alive.
Yeah.
But not active.
The only other celebrity reference I had, and it wasn't an actress from this show, but the beautiful supermodel actress Barbara Fairley, and I'm probably butchering her name, but often a Sports Illustrated model, dated DiCaprio for a while.
Who's that?
Leonardo DiCaprio? Oh,
no.
Barbara Fairley. So anyway, in, I think it was 2013 or 2015, she tweeted Lincoln's line about there's no honorable way to kill, but she actually attributed it to the real Abraham Lincoln, not the Abraham Lincoln in this episode.
That's awesome.
But you know what? I forgive her because she's gorgeous. So I'm going to give her a pass.
The last one of these guests, Bob Herron, who played Kalis.
Oh, yeah.
He has 329 credits.
Wow.
Also stunts. So stunts for LA Confidential, Sneakers, The Untouchables, Small Soldiers.
Was he Kalis, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He is also still alive. More recently active. I mean, he
Reno
did like
911.
Chuck and Reno 911.
Wow.
It looks like it's been about 7-8 years since he's been credited, but still a lot of Murder, She Wrote stunts, apparently.
Was this the only Star Trek for him? Because I thought maybe he played a small character another time, but
This is just his stunt listings, which I don't see any Star Trek under his stunt listings. Did get smart about this time. Let me look under his actor listings, because they're all the way at the bottom. Still 63 of them. He actually played a character in Reno 911 in one episode.
Oh, wow.
As an actor, not just as a stunt man. He was also a Sam in Charlie X, uncredited. Whatever that. Must have been a small role. Was it like the guy that tried to sexually assault Janice Ray? I don't remember. So those are our guest stars of note, which not a couple of stunt people, which was interesting, but makes sense for what they did.
For all the action, and throwing rocks.
Stunt and ventriloquist, or impressionist.
Yes.
When he's like, here's my Surak, and here's my Lincoln, and I'm like, that doesn't. No, you just slowed your. It didn't really sound.
No.
And here is my Shatner.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I did think I've only got 2 more notes.
Okay.
One, Kirk goes on about miles and feet, which at first I was like, what the heck? And then Spock goes, well, those are your old measurements.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, you saved it barely, I guess.
The Federation's on metric system, right?
And then the other time where Kirk just acted at the end, he's like, oh, you can just beam us aboard. And I'm like, can they? Because last time you talked to them, they had no power.
Right.
And we're just drifting.
Yeah, it was weird. It's not an episode that ends real suddenly. Like, all right, well, you win. You outlasted them. They retreated. I mean, that's what evil does.
Did you really want 5 more minutes of the show?
No. The Kirk Spock.
They took a while to get into it.
Yeah.
So I think that's where they.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. Alternate episode was just, I would prefer to see Hitler and Attila and Socrates. Socrates probably just would have killed himself with hemlock.
My alternate episode was if they redid this episode today, instead of fighting to death, they put them in a Big Brother house and make them, the 8 of them, do a reality show. I think that would be entertaining. It would be better than this. At least the drama and stuff would make sense.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would. I agree.
Any other notes?
That's all I got.
So we're ready for rankings?
I think we are.
Did Zora displace for female?
She does not displace. God, what was her last episode?
Vanna from the Cloudminders.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, she does not displace Droxine for me either. I think those they're keeping those for now.
Yeah.
It's the Savage Curtain. For some reason, I thought it was just Savage Curtain. Lots of those. Lots of those in season 3 in a way we didn't get in the other seasons.
It's a weird title too.
So, you said you wanted, before we started, you said you want to start the top 3 or 4?
Ranking? No, that was... What is number 3?
For the World is Hollow and I Touch the Sky.
Nope.
Yeah, totally comparable.
Nope.
You want to start third from the bottom?
Sure.
Third from the bottom is "And the Children Shall Lead."
The only reason I would rank this above is our rock creature.
That's not the only reason
There's
for
some
me.
other reasons.
I think there's a couple other reasons.
It's the one that stands out for me.
Yes.
And again, I like the Colonel Green and those guys, and the fact that they pop up later, and like a lot of things in Star Trek.
And this was a good episode to establish continuity stuff, the mythology that they would later.
Yep.
No, I agree. I think it should be above "In the Children Shall Lead." Next one up is "Requiem for Methuselah." That was a better put together episode.
Yeah.
But maybe not as creative?
Yeah. You could... I
don't know.
I could go either way on that one.
I could too. The one above that is "Whom Gods Destroy."
Wow.
Let me look at that one.
Man, this season is a mess.
Oh, it is. "Whom Gods Destroy." Another one with a bunch of weird aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost... no, that one was better put together too. Jeez.
We were just truly discussing the dregs. I mean, we're like 8 episodes up, and it's still... We haven't even got to the Mark of Gideon yet.
Honestly, was "Requiem for Methuselah" the one that I was like, I'm so bored I want this to end?
Yeah, I liked it better, I think.
So that might make me tempted to put above that because I wasn't bored out of my mind.
Gotcha.
But "Whom Gods Destroy," not that it was great,
Right.
but at least the plot made more sense. But it was a repetitive plot. This one was creative.
It was.
Okay, let's look about it. Maybe this will be a little higher than we thought. Mark of Gideon.
What's above Mark of Gideon was the Crowded World.
I hated that.
Me too.
I would put this above Mark of Gideon. Oh God, what's going on?
I know. What?
The Cloud Minders.
Jeez. Man, this doesn't make any sense. That's what happens. You do it week to week.
The Cloud Minders that we put an asterisk next to because we weren't sure that's where it belonged.
Yeah.
We wanted Keith to weigh in because we very much disagreed on that one.
Yeah, we did.
You wanted it much higher than I, and I wanted it lower.
Spectre of the Gun too, and I think Paradise Syndrome is a good. Well, for me, it's a good. Like, it's got to be below that, right?
I think it's below Spectre of the Gun.
Okay, I agree with that.
Okay, so Cloud Minders, if it stays there, which we're still in debate about, does it belong above or below Cloud Minders?
I probably enjoyed Cloud Minders more.
I think I want to put it below Cloud Minders.
Yeah,
I think Cloud Minders is a little bit better story.
I can't believe it climbed this high.
I mean, it's 7 up, but this is a particularly bad season.
It is. Yeah.
I think what it came down to here is, as much as we hated the plot holes and stuff, there are some interesting elements to it. Whereas most of these other ones are just bad.
Yeah.
Without the interesting elements.
Bad retread type episodes, yeah.
I mean, if Lincoln had been an uninteresting, boring character, this would be right down the Spock's brain.
That's fair. And I was thinking earlier while we were on the Presidents, like, yeah, I guess you can bring Lincoln back because it's 100 years ago. You couldn't put Kennedy in this episode in 1969.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
you could now, right?
And Kennedy doesn't deserve to be there over Lincoln. I mean, let's be honest.
Well, that's fair, but
I know there's debate. Well, there's been debate over who's our greatest president, obviously. But I think a lot of people tend to pick Lincoln as the best. And I would probably put Lincoln as the best president. Not that he's my favorite one to look into, but I think he was probably our best president, in my opinion.
Dealt with a lot.
He did.
Kept us together.
And did it in a way where he was globally known before people were globally known. You know, like he was... They have him... he's been number 1 the last 4 times the historians have ranked him. He's never been lower than number 3 since they started this in 1948. So... I think Lincoln was a good choice.
He's
and he was
iconic.
well acted, and his character was well formed in the midst of a bad episode.
Yeah, and Kirk had to watch him die again.
I mean, I missed that episode where he time traveled back to Fort Sleep, as you had said earlier.
Why would he just go to the night before? Or maybe Lincoln didn't go the night before. Probably not.
I looked at best Lincoln quotes, and I will say the first one is one I do try to live my life by. Yeah. No man has a good enough memory to be a successful liar. About 15 years ago, I just decided, no matter how bad it is, it's easier to tell the truth for the most part, and just take your consequences, because lying, it's hard to keep your story straight.
That I know. Yeah, next week we're back with not all our, is it all our yesterdays next week?
Oh,
all those yesterdays? So I don't know why I'm getting the
question.
We have 2 episodes left.
I think it's all our yesterdays.
I know Turnabout and Cheaters is the last
final.
One.
Yeah, so it's got to be all our yesterdays, because we haven't done all our yesterdays yet. Let me double check. Hopefully we'll be back with some more hosts to finish us off. I do have, all our yesterdays.
All right, Marianne Hartley. I'm looking forward to it.
When Kirk, Spock, and McCoy investigate the disappearance of a doomed planet's population, they find themselves trapped in different periods of the world's past.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, God, that sounds awful.
That's right.
And like so many other episodes.
That is right. I'm going to say, in my memory, half this episode is good and half of it is not. Until then,
live long
and prosper.
Or no, it's up to you.
I'll give you the salute, even though Kirk would not give it to Surak.
I'm not giving it back. It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?